In this tutorial, we are going to be making a t-shirt with the Cricut Joy, and I am really excited to see how this turns out. I'm also excited to use the Cricut Joy again because I've been having so much fun with this machine. It is so fun to use, and I'm excited to show you how you can create a t-shirt of your own using it. So for this particular project, I'm making a t-shirt for my little girl. She is going to be turning 4. She is in preschool, so it's her first year in the school setting, and a really exciting thing this year is she's watched all of her friends have their birthdays, and she has watched them all bring cupcakes in, so now it's finally her turn, and she's really excited, and she has the whole idea planned for her cupcakes. So now I wanted to make her a cute little birthday shirt to wear on her special day. So I'm going to walk you through all the materials that you are going to need for your particular project, and then we'll get to using the new Joy machine to create our own t-shirt. So this is going to be super, super sweet. I'm excited to show you the little design that's going to go on here. In addition, we are going to be using 3 different colors of HTV. So I'm going to show you how you can layer HTV and get all of the colors on your shirt easily the first time. Okay, so for materials, you're going to obviously need a shirt. I got this little 4T shirt at Hobby Lobby. It's, of course, the brand Creations of Grace, which is one of the brands that they carry. And it is pre-washed, so I made sure to wash it. It's recommended that you pre-wash your fabric before doing your HTV. So it did go through the washer and dryer. Now you're also going to need the Cricut Joy mat because we are not going to be using smart materials. We are going to be using Siser Easyweed HTV. So if you want to put other materials other than smart materials through your Joy, you'll just be placing them on the mat, and I will walk through all of this with you. We'll also use a measuring tape to make sure we measure out the shirt appropriately so we can size our design to fit in proportion to the shirt. A weeding tool and scissors will be helpful. And then we are going to be using 3 different colors of HTV. So the first color is, let me see, I wrote them down because I had to look them up, and then I'm going to share a tip for buying HTV online. So the first one, this one's called light pink. It's super, super pretty. And then this one is pale yellow. And then the third is called C. I love this one. This is so pretty. Okay, so and I love how they go together. I think they're so pretty. Obviously, I already used a snippet of the pink because I love it. Okay, and then in addition to that, we are going to be using our Cricut protective sheet. So this is just our iron-on protective sheet, and then the EasyPress mat. For our heat source, we're going to be using the EasyPress 2, and so I'll walk you through that as well. It's so easy to use, and it really, really helps simplify HTV. You can also use a household iron if you'd like. I personally always tell people that I have not had good luck with it, but if you have had good luck with a household iron, go for it. That's awesome. For me personally, I always seem to not have very good luck with it. Okay, so a little trick for HTV and vinyl online. I don't know if you're like me, but it's really, really hard for me to buy vinyl online, but I love it to do it because it's convenient and there's a lot of options other than my craft store. So what I did is I purchased from 651vinyl.com, I purchased their little swatches. So these are little swatches. This is their vinyl swatch, and it comes with all of their colors. And then this is their HTV swatch, and it comes with all of their colors. So this is really helpful for me because I sometimes do not think that the color on the computer really matches the color of the actual vinyl. I think sometimes the color, it can be off, or, you know, it comes in the mail and it's way brighter than you think, or it comes in the mail and it's a shade, you know, darker than you think and not what you had in mind. So I found that investing in these little swatches have been really helpful for me because I can just look at the color I want and then flip it over and it tells me exactly what color to order. So if you are like me and you like to buy online, but then you kind of find it tricky when you're trying to find the perfect color and you're wanting to make sure the color is the exact color you want, these little swatches are going to be a little game changer for you. Okay, let's go ahead and measure our shirt. So what I'm thinking is, I'm thinking our design will probably be about 5 inches wide, And then for height, we can play around a lot because obviously we have a very long shirt. So I'm thinking around 5 by 5 is probably, or even 5 by 4.5 is probably the biggest I would go for this size t-shirt. Now again, your sizing is going to be different based on the t-shirt that you have, whether you're working with a small t-shirt or a onesie or an adult size shirt. So just take your measuring tape and see what looks best to you. But for me, 5.5 for this toddler shirt is looking just about perfect. All right, I think we have everything we need. Always be sure to check the links below in the description box, because if materials pop their way onto the table, I'll be sure to get them linked for you in the description box below. That way you have everything you need. Also, be sure that you are subscribed. A lot more fun things are happening on the craft table coming up, and you guys would not believe. If you guys could see behind me on this camera, you would see just a crazy amount of bags from, let's see, Joann's, Hobby Lobby, Michael's. It's just going to get really, really fun coming up here, and the spring line is going to be super fun. So make sure you're subscribed, and let's get into design space and we will get cutting. All right, everyone, so this is the design we're going to be using today, and I'm going to show you how I found it and how I created multicolors from it. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by going over to the images. It's the 4th button down on the left, and I'm going to type "I'm the birthday girl" and just hit enter. And the first one that pops up is the one I'm going to be using, so I will select it and hit insert images. Okay, so now as you can see, this is a single layer project and it's all in the black color, and it's really cute, but it's just not where I want this t-shirt to go quite yet. So this is my final, and I'm going to show you how I got there. So if you look over here, this is all a single layer file in our layers panel. So what we're going to do is we are going to be using the contour feature, and it's down here. It's the bottom right hand button in the layers panel. So before we do anything else, what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this twice. So I'm going to have the number of files for the number of colors that I'm going to use. So I'm going to have the duplicate button is right here. I'm going to click it twice, 1 and 2. And this is going to represent the number of colors that I'm using. So what I'm going to do is now on this first one, I'm going to start contouring out some of the images on this graphic. So what I'm going to do is I will go ahead. It's important that you kind of drag it down, and I'll show you why. Once you open the contour box, you're going to want to see what it's doing. And if you have it, behind the box, you're not going to be able to really see what's happening here. Of course, you can see what's happening on this actual screen, but it's kind of helpful to see it here, to be honest. So either or, whatever you think is best, but I like actually seeing the graphic. So watch as I start going. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to make the pink text. So we are going to remove everything but the pink text, and it will remind you what you're going to be doing. It says on the image below, select outlined portions to turn cut off and on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start turning the parts of the cut off that I don't want for the pink. So I'm going to start with, we'll just start clicking. So again, I'm only leaving the letters at this point. So I'm just clicking off. Do you see how it's starting to disappear down here? This is helpful for me because while you can kind of see it up here, you really can see it here. So this is not a letter, not a letter. And you just take your time and go through. Again, this first one, we are just removing everything that is not "I'm the birthday girl." So everything that's not the text is going away. And just watch as your mouse, hovers over here. Sometimes it wants to hover over the wrong one and it makes it a little silly, but just take your time and it'll all work out. Slower and steady for contouring, I think, is the trick. Okay, so now you can see I am left only with my letters here, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and click out, and what I'll do is this is my final. So I will just put him over here, and I will color my letters pink. Okay, I'm gonna grab my next one, drag it down so I can see it, and click the contour button. On this one, I am going to take out everything but the balloon and the cupcake. So I'm just gonna make this smaller so I can see everything at once. And I'm going to just start clicking. So I will start taking out the letters and I will start taking out the confetti at the same time. So this is a wonderful way to take a single layer image and make it multiple layers. So if you find an image that you really like and the contour feature is available, it will tell you if it's available down here. It will light up if you can do it. Then it's, this is a wonderful way to kind of personalize the image to make it, how you would like it. So just keep this little tool in mind. I didn't find this tool super early when I was first started Cricketing, but once I did, learn about it, it has really been a fun little game changer. Okay, so there we are. Again, click out, and then we will color this. We're coloring it green, but it's going to be that nice sea color. So now, one thing, when you duplicate all of your images, do not change the size, because all of them need to stay the same size so that you can put them back together again. So first and foremost, I am making all of my colors through the contour button. And then after everything is colored and I have my final version of everything I want, then I will go ahead and size them. But before you do any sizing, make sure you get your image put back together, because if you start dragging and resizing each individual image, it's going to be kind of a nightmare to put it all back together. So keeping them all the same size is going to help when you're putting the puzzle back together, and then size from there. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so then dragging down and the contour. Again, this final one, let's make this smaller. So this is a little bit more design space heavy, I guess you could say, but I think it is, whoops, this one over there. That's fine, I'm taking this out anyway. But I want to show you guys a little bit more advanced design space work, because it really does open your eye to a lot of possibilities when it comes to crafting. So yes, this part of design space, whoops, goodness gracious. Let's see which part is coming on here. So I just want to clarify, yes, it's a little bit of work up front, but so worth it, because then you can kind of start, I think the more you know about design space, the more your crafting kind of starts to evolve, because you can start seeing the potential in all the cut files, and you don't have to really take them for what they're worth. So you can just, see the cut file and then know that you can customize it and take it different places. So just showing you some of these tools will just help broaden your possibilities with crafting. Okay, so now I just want to make sure I have all my pieces. Yep. Okay, so now this is going to be the yellow. So all that pretty confetti, whoops, is going to be the pale yellow. All right, so now I'm just going to place that back in here. So word of the wise for this project, make sure while you are putting these pieces on your shirt that you keep your design space open so you can kind of reference where everything goes. That'll be very helpful. Okay, so now that I have my final, I'm going to go ahead and delete this because I already have what I need, but I wanted to walk you through exactly how I got from A to Z on that. So I'm going to delete that. And then now that I have all of my files, so now you can see it went from a single layer file that was all just black to a multi-layer file that has multiple colors. So how fun. So now I'm going to just highlight everything, and now I can start sizing. So it was kind of where I wanted it. I'm going to stay around 5 inches in width. I can make that just a tad bigger, and it's coming in at 4.1 inches in height. So that is going to be perfect. I'm going to go ahead and make that just like that. I love the sizing. I think it'll look really good on that shirt. Okay, so now I'm going to make sure that my Joy is selected right here. Again, you can use any machine for this project. I'm just going to be using the Joy for this one, but feel free to use the machine that you have. Then I'll go ahead and click Make It. And now I am going to say that I am going to be using On the Mat. Again, it reminds us it's for any material. So I'm going to click On the Mat. That's going to allow me to use non-smart materials. It's going to allow me to use my Siser Easyweed HTV for this project in the Cricut Joy. So I'll click Done. And now it's just reviewing all of my artwork. So it's going to place each one on an individual mat. Now, the most important part of this is because we are working with HTV, we want to mirror our projects, okay? If you have not worked with HTV before and you're not quite sure, hold tight. It's going to make sense in a minute. But for now, just know mirroring is key here, okay? So I'm going to go through each of these layers. Every one of them is HTV, so I'm going to make sure mirror is turned on for all 3. Now I will go ahead and click continue, and it's just going to locate my Cricut Joy. Okay, and so now I'm going to select the option Everyday Iron On. This is not Everyday Iron On. This is the Siser Easyweed, but this is the closest setting for Siser Easyweed in my opinion. So that's the one I'm going to be using. It works really great. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. And now Cricut, being as friendly as it is, it's going to remind you, make sure mirror is turned on and iron on material is faced shiny side down. So I will show you all of that second portion when we get back to the overhead camera. But for now, I'm going to double check. Mirror is on, mirror is on, mirror is on. Okay, it's worth double checking. And then now it's going to just have me start loading my materials in the mat. And once they're loaded, it's going to let me click go. So the go button will pop up right here once it's ready. Again, Cricut Joy is completely buttonless, so you will do all of your selections on screen and you won't be clicking any buttons on the Joy. All right, let's start loading our mats and we'll get to cutting this design out. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to load our mat with the HTV. So I went ahead and just cut my little HTV into strips. It's just going to be easier for me to feed through and then to keep my scraps after it's cut. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to place it shiny side down. As you'll see, there's one side that's a little bit shinier than the other, and in person it's more obvious. So just remember, shiny side down. The reason this is shiny is because that is a built-in carrier sheet for the HTV. So this is all in one when it comes to materials. You don't have to use any other, carry or transfer paper or anything. This is the, it's going to be already built in so that you can just transfer it as is. Okay, so now that it's all laid down, what you're going to do is the Joy is an auto load machine. So you can just place the mat up against the wheels and it will auto load into it. Just like that. Now it's making sure that the mat is all aligned, which it looks like it did. Okay, and now it's going to allow me to click go. So I'm going to go ahead again. I'm going to do everything on the screen because this is buttonless, and it will go ahead and feed through and get to cutting. Now in the meantime, I'm going to start getting my EasyPress preheated. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it on, and I am referencing the 651vinyl.com. I'm just pulling up the Siser Easyweed that I have purchased, and I am just using their heat application directions from there. So they say to put the temperature at 305. So I'm just going to, oh, looks like it's already going to be set there. So 305, and then it says to press it for 10 to 15 seconds. So I have 15 seconds on the timer here, and so now it is just going to preheat for us. So once it's done cutting, you're just going to click unload on your screen or on your device, and then it will be all ready to remove from the mat. So the first one is done, and now it's going to call for the yellow. So we'll go ahead and place the yellow, again, shiny side down or color side down, or pattern side down. Again, reference the actual HTV that you're using, and the company will also tell you how to put it on the mat, because most HTV is shiny side down, but just in case, just double check that you're doing it right. Okay, so now I've just snuck in my brayer tool because I think it's really helpful for putting the HTV down on the mat. Again, we're just going to do the same process of auto load and allowing it to go in. So now that the yellow is cutting, I'm going to go ahead and the Cricut EasyPress is all preheated. I'm going to go ahead and cut off my scrap HTV, and I'm going to start weeding. So while that is going to cut the rest of my layers, it's helpful to get everything weeded, because then we can just start pressing soon. Okay, so now I'm just going to, HTV is super easy to weed. I'm going to poke a corner just like I would vinyl and just start pulling. So I'll pull, looks like the yellow layer is done, so let me get this surrounding area off, and then I will go ahead and load another layer into the Cricut. So have you guys done t-shirt making yet? It's one of my favorite things. In fact, when I was first considering getting a Cricut in general. My first Cricut was the Maker. When I first was considering getting it, my main reason for justifying the purchase was t-shirts. I just think they're so fun. You can just, you know, the possibilities are endless. They're easy to make. They're fun to make. So if you haven't done a t-shirt yet, then give it a try because it's really fun. Plus, you can make a lot of other things too, like tote bags. I have a really, really fun tote bag tutorial. I'll link it right here so that you guys can go see it. I made a really fun tote bag, actually, for each of my girls, and it turned out so cute, or they turned out so cute, and I used such a complex design on it. It was, talk about, remember yesterday when I was talking about if you like weeding or don't like weeding? Well, this was definitely putting me in my happy place because there was just so many little areas. You guys just have to watch the video. It's, I mean, the design was intense, but beautiful. Beautifully intense, let's call it that. Okay, so I think I have all of my little pieces. Let me just double check. I've mentioned in other tutorials, but it's worth mentioning again that a little practice that I have now adopted is I go ahead with my weeding tool and flip this over. I go ahead with my weeding tool, and instead of just like looking all at this all at once, what I do is I take my tool and I just kind of scan over each letter individually, making sure I have weeded out every part. That way I give each letter its opportunity to, you know, point itself out and make sure I have everything weeded, because it's really awful if you don't weed everything and then get it on your design. Another tip, make sure you're always keeping track of all the scraps for the HTV, because if any of it gets on your shirt and you go to press, the scraps will press down as well, which is not fun. Okay. So now, do you see how those scraps can just go everywhere? Okay. So now we have our first layer. So I'm going to keep these sticky side up. Okay, so now let's unload this one. And perfect. Start loading the teal. Or the sea, it's called. It's so pretty. All these colors are so springy. I have other projects in mind for this HTV. It's just a perfect time of year for all of these nice colors. Okay, and then auto load, and we'll get that cutting. So we'll start weeding out our yellow, and sometimes you just kind of have to hold that up to the light. Go. And make sure you don't cut off your design. Okay. And now we're just weeding the yellow. I'm excited to see this all come together because it took me a little bit to pair all the colors that I wanted. So it'll just be nice to see the final product. You know what? There's a lot of HTV in the middle. Let me, before I weed any further, I'm going to just cut out with my True Control knife. I'm going to cut out some of that HTV. Save some materials if we can. Okay. So just using my True Control knife to cut out the center part. You can skip this step if you're okay with if you're okay with saying goodbye to a little bit of scrap vinyl or HTV, excuse me. But for me, you know, it's worth keeping that. So I'm gonna just cut that out and keep it. And now I can continue. Sometimes it's hard for me to waste when I know that I don't really have to, so it's just worth cutting it out and using it again. Okay. So by cutting out just that center, it's still allowing me to have everything placed together. So that is really going to be helpful when it comes to pressing. Oh, goodness. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Just weeded a little too aggressively on that. Let me try to fix it. There we go. Okay. Okay, slow and steady. I'm not listening to my own advice on that. I think I'm getting excited to start pressing. Okay, keeping track of all of my pieces. Okay. And the last one. Okay. So now, oops, we have that nice yellow. Okay, and then unload. I'm always wanting to press a button over here. It's muscle memory, I think. Having a buttonless machine is new territory. Okay. All right, so now we can put our mat away. And we'll just cut off the extra here. And once again, I think we have a little bit of material in the middle that we can salvage, so we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, and being careful just to leave some connecting pieces at the top and bottom. That way everything is still spaced and connected as it should be. So we'll let that guy go to the side, and then we can start weeding this pretty sea color. So you'll notice that I used my True Control knife right on this mat. It's so important to have a nice craft mat. If you missed yesterday, I have just been getting question after question about this particular mat and where you can get it. And I actually did make it myself. So if you are wanting a really fun craft mat and you want to personalize one to make one exactly that fits your personality and your craft room's personality, then be sure, I'll link it right here. Be sure to check out that tutorial. It takes you like 5 minutes to make, and it's amazing. So go ahead and check that out if you're curious. Okay, and I'm just weeding the middles of these little balloons out. And we are almost ready. The tiny, tiny little middle here. Okay. And making sure also that those little pieces don't get stuck to your little sticky carrier sheet, because they will just stick and then they'll press. Then you'll be wondering, I did not have a little design in that spot. Why is there teal there? Okay. This cupcake is so cute. All of it is really cute. I just love this design. When I saw it, I immediately knew. Sometimes I want to make something custom with the text box and just do it all myself, but you know, a lot more often than not, just finding the pre-made design not only is quicker, but they are just so pretty that sometimes I think I couldn't have replicated that anyway. Okay, so there is the balloon and the cupcake, and again, just making sure that I have all of my pieces weeded out. Check. Okay, so now we are going to start pressing. So what I'm going to do is I am going to quickly just make sure all of these little pieces are out. I'm going to clear my space of any of the tools that I don't need. Sometimes simplifying the space is so much easier when it comes to crafting. So I'm just going to start cleaning up and then we'll get to pressing. Okay, so if you'll notice, I went ahead and removed everything, including my floral mat. It does tend to get a little warm, even under the EasyPress mat, so I just like to make sure that I have just a bare surface underneath my my EasyPress mat. So I really like using the EasyPress mat. It's really, really helpful. If you don't have one, I would definitely recommend one. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am just going to start placing all of my materials all together. And we'll just start layering just to see how this works. Let's smooth out this shirt. So cute. Okay, making sure I don't have any little wrinkles in it. Getting it as smooth as possible. Okay. Oh, it's warning me. It's saying use me or I'm going to turn off. We're good. Don't worry. We're still here. We're just chatting. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I am going to place the text down first. And we'll just, let's see here. I'm trying to see. First of all, I'm going to set all of them down. And then, you know what? Hold on. Let me preheat this material because once I get this set down, I don't really want to have to move it again. So I'm just going to preheat this for about 5 seconds. It also just ensures that it's really, really smooth. There's no, you know, wrinkles. Okay, perfect. Okay, so let's start getting everything placed here. Okay, and then I think I'll lay down. Now, don't panic. I'm not pressing these all at once, but I am going to put them all. You guys, this is going to be so cute. Oh, these colors were perfect. Now, which way did this go? Was it this way? Cute. Okay, so now that I have everything where it needs to go, I'm going to grab my measuring tape and I'm going to place the design 2 inches from the collar. So I'm just going to bring all that down. So I put all of them together just to kind of get an idea for the whole design. And also because some of the layers, you know, make up the entire square. So I can't just center the words because they don't really, they're not really easy to center. So putting the whole design together allows me to center the entire design. That's probably an easier way to say it. Okay, so I'm right at 2 inches from the neckline. And then for the sides, I'm just centering these at this point. So I'm at 3.5 and I am at 3.5. Okay, so that is perfect. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove everything but the pink layer. I'm going to start with that one. Let's see here. Come bring the yellow off. And then let's take this little teal guy off. And now the best thing is that this is sticky, so you can place it and then know it's going to stay there, but it also peels right up, unlike vinyl. Once vinyl lays down on, you know, a project, whew, it's down. Okay, so that is all ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay my protective sheet over it, and then again it recommends 305 for 10 to 15 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and just place my EasyPress on top, and I'm going to click the Cricut button, and that will start the countdown. It does say for pressure, let's see, medium pressure, so I'm going to put a tad bit of muscle into it, just a little. And then it does say that we can do a warm a hot or a cold peel. And whenever it does that, I always just do a warm peel. So the protective sheet, I will warn you, does get rather warm. So I have burned myself on this before, so just kind of make sure you grab at the corners that were furthest from the heat source and just remove that. And then we'll just kind of let this cool for just a second. It's looking perfect. The colors together look really, really good. I'm super excited. Again, personalize this to do anything. I'm curious, you guys leave me a comment and tell me, first of all, if you've tried a t-shirt before. And if you haven't, if your next project is going to be your first t-shirt, what will your t-shirt be? It is such a fun process. Also, if you are working with a shirt that has more stretchy material, there is a certain HTV that you'll use for that. So I will go ahead and link my video for you know, baking t-shirts from a stretchy material and which HTV is best. I'll go ahead and link that right here so that if you find that the t-shirt that you picked out is more stretch in nature, be sure to reference that video and I'll show you how to make a t-shirt like that. Okay, so that's warm to touch. Still a little hot, but I'm just going to take an edge and start peeling. If you find that you have sections of the shirt that is, you know, peeling up, if some of the HTV is not laying down, what you'll do is you'll simply place this right back on top and you will repress it. So always keep your little carrier sheet until you know your design is completely laid down, because you'll still need this to continue pressing. So don't throw this away quite yet. Mine looks great, so I'm going to go ahead and just set that to the side. And the next layer I'm going to do is my balloon and cupcake. Laying that right here. Perfect. Now, if you'll notice, some of my HTV is now exposed. So what I'm going to do is make sure that I have this protective sheet on, because you don't want to put your heat source right over exposed HTV. Okay, so make sure it's always protected by either you know, a little carrier sheet, or the protective mat. So this is really handy. So I'm going to place that right over here. And again, same instructions, same materials. I'll go ahead and just click the OK button, little Cricut guy. And with the EasyPress, you don't move it. So you're just going to place pressure and keep it steady. And then it'll beep when it's done. I love the countdown feature because it allows me to chit chat, or, you know, like watch TV or something, and it does the counting for me. Okay, so removing that and giving it again just a moment to kind of cool down. I also like that on the website it does give you care instructions, so it'll let you know to wait 24 hours before your first wash, no dry cleaning, and then it gives you the temperatures for your washing machine and how to do that. So always reference the HTV that you have purchased for not only heat instructions, but for care instructions. I find that very helpful. Okay, cool down. I'm getting excited. It's looking so pretty. She's going to love this. How special. Okay, so going ahead and pulling that next one off. Okay, and now we have the final. Again, it's really helpful to reference I'm going to pull it up again. I'm pulling up my design space just to see my design. Because it's helpful to just see where everything was supposed to go. And it looks like I did a good job without it, but just to make sure. Okay, just laying those down. Again, protective sheet to protect any of the exposed vinyl, which will be right in the middle. If you did cut out like I did to save some vinyl, then you'll have some exposed vinyl. Okay, and then laying down the EasyPress one more time. Okay, and that last one is all done. So removing the mat. I love crafting for birthdays. How about you guys? Do you love it? If you want to see more birthday type things, I'll link my birthday playlist here. It shows you how you can make, let's see, what have I made for birthdays? Like little chalkboard signs for the food. That one is so fun. Also, party invitations are so fun to make with the Cricut. So make sure you check out. I'll link that if you're interested, in case you are planning a birthday soon or making any type of little party. It's really, really fun to use your Cricut to bring your little party to life. Okay. That looks amazing. So pretty. Okay. I think everything is laid down really nice too. I don't see any lifting. It looks really good, so I'm just making sure. But I think it's pretty darn spot on. Okay, so let me pull this up and show you guys the final. So sweet. Okay, you guys, if you enjoyed this and you are ready to make your first shirt, or if you just enjoyed watching how to layer HTV, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. I would love that. And let me know who's watching. Leave me a comment, and be sure that you guys are all subscribed, because spring again is on its way and we are crafting, and there's a lot of fun things coming to the channel, so I would love to have you come along. All right, everyone, have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you in the next video.